Hands can be so intimidating to draw. They're intricate, they move in strange ways, and there's practically no symmetry to them. Unless you're very practiced in drawing them, it's almost impossible to draw them freehand. Is that a pun? Anyways, hello everyone, Miss Art Garden here, and today I'm going to show you how you can break down hands into guides to help you learn to draw them like a pro. Before we begin, I'm really sorry about my voice. I'm still getting over like a 3-week cold, so I know it's a little hoarse. Let's go ahead and get started though. So we're just going to start with a simple forward-facing hand. I know I've done this on my channel before, but it's a good one to talk about the breakdown of the guides. So I'm going to start with drawing a tapered off sort of square shape, just like this. And this is a good way to represent the palm of the hand minus the thumb. When drawing the hand, the fingers tend to arch like this, and the webbing tends to arch in a similar manner. So you can kind of think about that when you sketch in this shape. What I mean by arch, the first finger is lower than the middle finger, which is the highest point. The ring finger matches usually up with the first finger, and the pinky finger will be the shortest, except for, of course, the thumb. And the thumb will end up being, if it's flat against the hand, it ends up being about midway down the index finger, or to the first joint, or second joint, first joint. I guess first joint in that it's closest to the palm. So let's go ahead and draw in where the thumb will be now. Theoretically, it comes down here. We'll just kind of draw that little sketch in there. Your thumb will be there, and we might kind of adjust it based off how the fingers lay out. But let's go ahead and start with the fingers. So we're going to draw some lines to represent the fingers next. So here's the index. These don't have to be perfect. They're just for placement. You can erase them as many times as you need to. There's the ring finger higher than the index finger. The middle finger higher than the index finger, and then the ring finger is about the same height as the index finger. And we end with the pinky, which will stick out a little bit like that. Okay, and then I'm going to adjust this a little bit. I want these fingers splayed like a fan, so just make that tiny little adjustment. You guys can make your adjustments how you want. I want the middle finger to go up. So you just kind of keep working on it, keep making those little adjustments as you want. And that's pretty good for a hand. It already looks kind of like a hand, right? It's good to keep those shapes in mind as you're drawing. So now that we have a basic guide, let's keep elaborating on our guide by fleshing out the fingers. So I'm going to draw, it's just a preference, I'm going to draw my fingers sort of pointed. And what I mean by that is the fingertips kind of have a point to them, not like extreme one. It's just a style thing. And when I'm drawing in the fingers, instead of drawing them round or anything like this, unless it's your style, you want this tapered end to be, this very end to be kind of tapered compared to the rest of the finger. And then you'll have webbing down here, so you'll want to keep a little space, and we can draw in the second finger here, just like so, and then just kind of sketch it in how you want. And you can, this is the sketch, so you can go back in and make adjustments however you want. If you're drawing traditionally, you'll want to press real lightly and just barely make the lightest marks you can before you're ready to kind of detail in and make it a little more committed. Okay, and there's the second webbing, and then we're going to draw this index finger. We'll go up like so, kind of draw in the pointed thing, come down. This is gonna, I want this to almost be, I want it to be a little straighter, so I'm just gonna adjust that there, and there we go. That's the ring finger. And then remember, the webbing here is bending down towards this way, so the pinky webbing will be down the furthest. And we'll draw the pinky out like so, and then down to match up there. So there you can start to see with those fingers, your hand coming in a little bit more. And we're gonna finish off with the thumb. And the thumb webbing goes kind of down like this. And I'm actually gonna draw it out a bit just so it's more of a splayed hand. But if you want to draw it the other way, you can. You just kind of draw it, make sure to add a little bit of a bend where the joint would be. It'll just look a little bit more natural to draw it out like this. Oops. Like that. And then this will have a little bit of an indent here, and then it'll match up. Here's the joint, thumb joint down here. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and take a minute to erase some of these guides so you can see a little bit better how the sketch of the hand looks. So there we go, there's our hand, and if it's the back of the hand, you can draw in the finger joints, just some lines like so, and then you can even draw on the veins if that's your style, and they kind of go in like that, you know, kind of however you want. I'm gonna keep mine a little bit less detailed than that, so just kind of leave it off for now. If you're drawing this as the front of the hand, it can easily be flipped. you just want to draw in the palm lines. So there's one, basically your palm creates kind of this triangular shape. So you just kind of want to draw it in. There's easy little tips there. And then the last thing you'd want to draw in is your wrist. So you can imagine you can put a little bit of a palm here and here and draw on the wrist however you want. You can make it thinner for a girl, or just, you know, a skinny person, or just thicker if you want it, however you want. So there we go. We have a hand. We broke it down into guides and we've drawn it out. And it wasn't too hard, right? So now let's look and see how we break up hands into guides using a photo reference. And I got this photo off of pexels.com, and I'll type it right here, that website there, and they say that it is free use and public domain, so hopefully this won't be a problem. If you want the exact URL to this exact photo, I will put it in the description below so that you can follow on exactly. So let's break these hands up into like, you know, using guides, we'll break the hands up. And I'm going to pick a green color because I think it'll show real good against the skin. And I'm going to bump my opacity up. Okay, so let's start with this hand on the right. I'm going to turn the opacity of the photo down so that I can kind of break up how to do it. So if you're thinking of that tapered triangle, this is where the webbing of the hands are, right here. A tapered square, I'm sorry. And then, you know, the square kind of goes in, tapers off, just like that. And then the webbing of the fingers is hidden here, but you still get the general idea that this is the first finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky finger. Except, of course, these fingers are bent in. So when you're drawing them, you want to think about it in the sense that the the index finger would go down, and you can see the curve of the joint here. So if you were drawing your guides, you could do it that way. This one will go down, and you can see the curve. This one will go down, this one will go down, and then end right here. So you can see when you do this, it's kind of messy, but you get the idea. You've been able to break the guide up in your head. And then here we'll do this one out like that. Similar thing than what we talked about, that would be the guide. A little bit messy. Let's go ahead and draw this from the guide, but not tracing over. So I'm going to make this, let's duplicate it. I'm going to just real quick edit this one to make it a little bit easier for me. Okay, and then we're going to go up to here, and we're going to draw this using guides. So we'll start with the triangular shape. Here's the webbing right here. So we're going to, not triangular, I'm sorry. Tapered square. So we're going to do it like that. And then I'm not going to draw the thumb in much, just going to put that line there. And then you'll keep in mind you can draw this in now if you want or not, but the wrists will go up like that. I'm going to move this photo over just a little bit more room, give me more room. So now we're going to draw in the fingers. So we'll have one finger, the first index finger comes out, and then there's a knuckle here. It goes in, and then there's a knuckle here. Just like that. And we can just draw that in to help us. The next one will come out. These are still like sketch guides, and there's a knuckle and a go in. And then this one here comes out. The knuckle is very close. It goes in and it goes down a little bit further. So you can see on here there's a bit of a curve here. When drawing in your guide, try to imagine that curve there. And then for this last pinky, since it's being, you know, they're doing a pinky square here, it'll come up, that's the joint, come down, and there's not much of a knuckle bend because it's so front towards the camera. Okay, so that looks kind of messy. I know. I'm going to make it a little bit lighter so that I can easily draw over it. So now we're going to try to draw in more of the shape of the hand. So let's start with the thumb, and we'll come up just like this, and this is where the joint was. So then we'll go down, and we'll go down like this. And this is still just a sketch, so don't worry about it being messy or whatever. But there's the shape of the thumb. And now we're going to come up. You can see this line here right against the thumb. So we're going to take it there. Here's our guides to help us. We wanted the knuckle joint to be about right here. And we wanted it to go in like so and in like that. Now you can see here it goes up. And then it's very hard to tell, but basically it goes like that. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're just going to sketch in the first finger here, come up, and then like that. Okay, and you can make adjustments or you can come back and do it later. This there's some curves here and the shadow here. The thumb is actually there's some thumb creases. You can add them now or you can add them later. you know, basically this whole area is a little bit dark, and you'll just make adjustments as needed, but for now we're going to keep moving on. So this one comes out about here, and we can follow our guide. We wanted it to come out. You don't have to follow the guide. If you see there's something wrong, you can kind of rearrange it. It comes down for a little bit here, and then it comes in here like this, just like that. And there, you know, you can see it's pressed up here. And if it helps you, you can also draw on like a little line here for the joint, the knuckle joints. It's up to you, your preference of style. If you shade it, you should definitely shade this area darker, so that it you know, you can tell that the light is bouncing off of it. Okay, and then we'll draw this one here. I know we had it come out, but now I'm going to make this adjustment because it's so far in. I'm going to make this adjustment. It's going to go down a little bit straighter than these two, and then over, and then we're going to just kind of put it here. Now it sticks out just a little bit further than this one, but it's not too bad. So you can see that, and if you want to draw your knuckle joint in to help you out, there it is. Okay, and then we're going to draw the pinky, and you can put it out like this, and you know, comes in just like the guide did, like here. And I'm gonna make a little artistic change here so that you see a little bit of this, because you know, the finger, this other finger, I can draw it in, but you don't have to. It's just gonna be like here, so you wouldn't see that normally, but that is how it would be without the finger, if that makes sense. And that's just kind of just sketching to show you, to help you out there. Okay, so we have this. Now you can go through and change anything. Like I messed up here, this finger actually goes over the pinky a little bit, so I'm going to make this adjustment. So what do you do now? This doesn't match up, but actually it should come in a bit like that and come up. So that's the line. Just kind of make little adjustments like that. Okay, so in general, I know it's very sketchy. I guess we can finish up. So we have this come down, and the wrist goes out. I'm not going to draw in the bracelets. The thumb, you can picture the thumb joint goes out like that. You can kind of add that in as you want. There's a crease where the pinky is, right about here. Oops, messed that up. You can add that in and erase some of your guides. Oh, I have to draw on this side of the hand. It'll come out just a little bit at this area here, and then it'll go up. And you can kind of see that in the picture here. And I might have exaggerated it a bit, but we're just sketching it in. It's okay. So there we go. And then we just draw the wrist in. And I know it doesn't show here, but I'm going to add a little bit of a line here and here, just so you can kind of see, I don't know, stylistic choice. So let's erase the guides and take a look at this now. We didn't match the picture perfectly, but I think it looks pretty good. If you want to drawing this and you want it to be really precise, you could go in and you could make adjustments or transforms or whatever you feel you need to do to make it a little bit more accurate. I'm just doing a little transform here, and just a couple things. You'll never get it perfect. Even like really experienced artists sometimes will mess up. It's not something that you strive to be perfect at. It's just something you strive to feel comfortable with, I guess, is more of my motto. So there's that hand, and we have it. You can see it's not nearly perfect, but you can see, you know, it represents the hand well enough. You can, I'm just going to leave it. I know the thumb on this one comes out further, and maybe I'll fix that when I'm painting it. I know this doesn't match up perfect, but I think for now it's okay. And we're going to move on to drawing the other half. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to make it a little bit smaller just so I can fit the hand more into my thing. But you can see here, I'm going to match it to this size. I'm just making this smaller so I'll have more room to draw here with you guys being able to see it. You can see here the same principle applies. That would be your square guide. You could draw a little bit of a thumb in there. And then this finger obviously goes up. This one comes down here, here, and here. And then you can do the finger joints as needed. So that's just the general, if you were looking at it, you could see it that way to help you out. And we're actually going to do that now over here. You want to be very careful to get your guides. I guess I'll just draw them in real quick and then move them as needed. So we'll draw the sort of square, tapered square, and that's where the webbing is, and then the thumb goes over here. I'm going to move this up a little bit. Like I said, I'm going to try to match this right to the finger area. Okay, so we have the first, I just ended up sort of drawing the pinky out earlier a little bit, and that's just how it ended up being. So I'll leave that there, but if we were drawing it, we'd have a guide here and a guide here, and then you can look here at the joints where they are and think about where you want your fingers from that. So we'll draw this one down, we'll draw this middle one here, we'll draw the index one going down a little bit further. There's sort of a one out look to it, and I know I haven't matched that perfectly, but we're just gonna go with it because I'll draw on the fingers in a minute here. And then the thumb, you know, our wrist will be up here. We'll remember that, and our thumb will come out. Just keep your movements loose and just keep working on your guides like that. So then we'll have the webbing here, and we can start on doing, you know, fleshing out the fingers. Now, since you can see the knuckles, you might want to include them a little bit when you're fleshing out your fingers. Oh, I guess I never drew these in. Oops, that one goes in. That one goes in like that. And you can make adjustments. Like I think that this finger, or this whole hand has been pulled out a little bit too much, so I'm just going to make a quick adjustment on my computer like that. You can also just opt to go and make mistakes and then figure out what you've done later. If you think something's wrong, you just keep going instead of giving up. I think it's better to just, because sometimes if you come back to it later and you look at it, you're like, oh, well, of course this was what was wrong. So here's the finger, and it'll go down like this, and this finger will go here. I'll erase the guides as I go, just kind of help out. And then we'll have this joint, this middle finger joint here, and it'll go down. I should have done this in a lighter color, but I want to be able to see it. I want you to be able to see it, so we'll just keep going. So then the finger will go here. You can see there's a little bit of finger visible here. I'm going to wait and draw that in for my own ease. And then we'll draw this in down like this. I'm going to put this at a sharper angle down, and it goes in. And mine is out a little bit further. I could make an adjustment to put it in, or I can kind of take artistic liberties and just add a little bit of a wrinkle in there so you can kind of see that's where it creases. Whatever you want to do. And then we'll come through and we'll draw the thumb. The thumb will be coming down and touching just this right, or just the index finger here. So we can see we need to make a little adjustment. This thumb needs to come down a little bit further here. And there's the joint. There it comes down, just like that, and it'll go there. So there's the guide, and then we'll draw the thumb in. This is where it comes up. Thumb goes down. We'll draw it in, just kissing this finger here. And then on this side, draw the joint out, coming down. We're going parallel to this line, not the guideline. And it will go in just like that. So now we have the hand. Oh, I guess we finish off the pinky so it doesn't look so odd. There we go. So now we have both hands more or less sketched in. And like I said, there might be some, you know, minor things that you notice about whether it's right or not. I'm going to move this in, this little webbing in a little bit. So I think that looks a little bit better. I'm going to work on fixing up this wrist because I just kind of roughly drew this in. There's a joint here that's visible. You can add that in if you want. And then just kind of, we're just going to leave it. I'm not going to draw too much of the wrist in. So there we go. We have taken this picture here. We've kind of broken it apart and we've sketched in hands. Now you can go in and you can make any adjustments you want if you think the hands don't look right. If this part is bugging you. Oh, I forgot to draw the inner ones. So we see here where it's kissing the hand here. We're just going to draw in like a little there. And then this one here, you could picture where it is. This one here was a little bit differently arranged. So it would look weird if I put it where it is. I guess it's down here in the photo. So I'm just going to kind of look at it and I'm just going to draw a little tiny shape of it in there based on how I drew it. So you can kind of make those changes, those adjustments, or you can work to really make it look like sometimes studies of the hands just keep obsessively making corrections so they look exactly like the hand, and that's perfectly great too. I just decided for, you know, this video to show you how to kind of keep it loose and keep it sort of like it without having to be super obsessed with it, you know, looking exactly right. It's fine. So I'm just going to kind of make that little quick thing here. So let's get rid of this. These are our hands as we've drawn them. I'm going to do a follow-up video here where I show you how to paint hands. I might make a few adjustments to the sketches off screen in between then and there, but nothing big. So if you want to join me for that part of the video, I will be doing that next week. I hope this video helped you, and if you have any questions or suggestions or requests for future videos, let me know in the comments. I hope you all have a wonderful day and stay well, don't get sick like me, and I will see you in the next video.